6 inches of screenings. I guess this is as far as the electric company will go. And they're going to build a new house back in this field, so they're responsible to get the power. I don't know if they'll set another transformer back there or not, but gonna dig a nice clean ditch. Screenings. It's going to take 2 loads of screenings, and we're probably going to get maybe 2 loads of base, because we got to go like 30 or 40 feet kind of on an angle on their driveway, and I don't want to just put screenings and the dirt back in there, because they may be eventually going to concrete the drive, so I want base rock on that. So I think he's going to bring me a load of screenings, probably a load of base, and then another load of screenings. Because I guess the electric company has to come, or I don't know if it's someone for them, but I guess the inspector or engineer got to come look at all this before we can cover it up. So I'm guessing they want to see Well, we hit a nice strand of, I guess it's limestone, I think. It's probably about 18 or so feet long, and then I broke through part of it with the 12-inch bucket, but it was just working the old machine over. I still got to go about another 24 down on this piece right here. I got a little bit of that out, but it took like, I don't know, 45 minutes to do this little section. So Dad went and ridded the big guns. We got a little 26G deer with a hammer on it, so I finally got a hammer on the channel. So I'll let you guys kind of watch him peck away at this rock for a little bit. was the short end of the straw on what job he gets or what he gets to work. He's always more than helpful. And he doesn't care. He has a good time helping out and being a part of it. So that's a monotonous, tedious job he's doing right now. Trying to hammer on that limestone. We gotta go down to like another 14, 16 inches where he's at. He'll work on some of that, he'll flack it down. I'll go down there and throw the 12-inch bucket on and try to clean the ditch out. I'm gonna keep going to see if I get this thing done today and make sure we don't run into any more limestone. So far I can keep it right at their 52, 54 inch mark. I mean, it's getting pretty rocky where I stopped. It's right to the depth it needs. Kind of hoping they had their 60G available instead of the 26, but that's better than nothing. My walk around last night, this whole getting dark at 5:15 stuff kind of really messes with it, but this is where I got to, so I gotta go through that next gate. I don't know, maybe another 100 feet or whatever of that. It was gonna stop a little bit before, but now they've kind of moved it out there and they're gonna set a meter box there. I drove Dad's truck down here this morning with another load of screenings because mine was clearly boxed in because he had some appointment or whatever this morning. So, and we had a little cave in, so great. We did get all the rock out. This is where we busted that out, but in doing so we kept knocking the sides of this ditch off. We'll grease the excavator and then come down here, clean this out, get the compaction wheel out, and then I'll just carry back on digging, because I think once I dig too much further in there, I may have the machine, I may be able to get out in this other gate. I may have myself blocked in, but we can get the loader out and start throwing the screenings and stuff in here. So yeah, this is our mess for now. So hopefully by the end of the day, it'll look a whole lot better. while to get down there in line, but it looked really good until I got to this section, which you guys probably can't even. It kind of, I don't know, flaked off whenever I tried to do my little jump turn thing and about smacked the fence. That broke loose, and then when I was trying to move around and clean it out, so now I've got a nice big wide ditch right there, but I did get underneath it, and then yeah, it's all done. Motor warming up to start moving screens. This thing's doing a regen, so I'm gonna keep running it for a little bit. I'm actually just gonna knock these piles down, and I gotta get the screenings in here and the conduit now, but there's not going to be a real good way to get the screenings in here, so I think what I may do is just either knock these down and use the loader to just kind of, I don't know, put it in the corner of the bucket, dump it in on an angle, or I thought about just dumping a pile here at the end and then using the grading bucket with the excavator, and then once we get it in, I can kind of take the loader and start pushing this stuff back in and packing it in there, and then if I have to, I can take the grading bucket and pull it back away from the fence. But that has been the annoying part of this job, is it's just like the logistics. There's no room, which isn't a huge deal, but this is definitely something you want to consider if you have to come and bid a job like this. I didn't even have time to come in here and look at this job. They didn't ask for a price, so I'm just kind of doing an hourly thing, and for the, you know, time and materials and stuff like that. We'll have the rental on that other machine. Excuse me. And then oh, the rock and everything's going to be about double what it normally is, because it's taking Dad almost 2 hours to make it around, but there's no quarry any closer. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's kind of one of those things where if you do have to give somebody a bid or a price, this is definitely some stuff to consider. Is how much material you're going to have or dig out, where are you going to be able to put everything if you have to. This is all something you need to think of if you go and look at something like this. It's just kind of the logistics and placing stuff. Like, I didn't realize, which is not a huge deal, but the way they acted at first is we're digging from a pole right out in the middle of the fields. I figured it'd be like wide open on space. And then, depending on what width bucket you use and how deep you have to dig, is about how much material you're going to have outside the ditch. So you can tell, if we did an 18, we probably got a 20-inch wide ditch, but we're 54 inches deep. That's a lot of material, and it adds up in a hurry. And just like in here, I'm in this little fenced-in area, so you can't put it on one side and then come in from the other to dump your screenings. The only reason I'm knocking it down now is it's just easier to do this and get it kind of flat, so then you don't just keep rolling it off in there before you get your screenings or your pipe in. This about drives me nuts, because I'm kind of weird anyway. I'm real OCD, and I want my job sites like nice and clean and organized, and you can tell I just got piles of crap everywhere, but I'll get it cleaned up and it's really not a big deal. But I like to kind of have like a little, I don't know, system or an idea in my head kind of in order before I start. Like, I can put my spoils on this side and come in. That's why I started on that one side. They already had the conduit laying there, so I opted to throw it on the other side, which that's not bad. We can get to everything from this side where the conduit's at. And then I hated to put all the dirt in the driveway or on top of the concrete, and then her truck was right there, and then I got that concrete, so now I got these big piles on the rest of the driveway, which is fine. Like I said, we're going to fill it in, and I'm pretty much going to redo her whole driveway where it's base rock. But that's all stuff that takes time and adds to the through that gate, and then they moved where they wanted the meter set. And it's hard to bend 3-inch Schedule 80 conduit, so I just opted to dig it straight. But then that kind of was a little more of a pain digging up to the fence, and then having all the piles in the way and not really having the room to spin off the ditch. It almost would have been easier to dig from the fence back out, but we got it. It is what it is. It's just, it all boils down to time. Because like if I would have bid this job, I was gonna guess 2 days to do this. We're probably looking at 2.5, maybe 3 by the time I redo the driveway. They may also want me to move that concrete down to this creek that runs through their property. They just, I guess, place it on the sides and help cut down on the erosion. So just stuff like that. So it's definitely something that you got to think about. I've had a lot of people on Instagram message me wanting to know how much I charge for this trench, or if I priced it for the job or per foot or whatever, but it's just my hourly rate or whatever, which I get $100 an hour for the 260 or the 250, and then I do 150 on the 2150. I normally try not to do a lot of hourly work. I mean, I still get some of them, and like this right here, I'd have been better to do it hourly than I would have trying to give them a bid, because I wouldn't have planned on some of this stuff. Maybe if I came down and I actually looked at it beforehand, I could have, but I'll come out a little better just doing it hourly. But a lot of stuff I'll look at, I try to either hit anywhere between, I think the least is like 1,000 or 1,200 a day to 1,500, depending on what I'm doing. It's kind of what I try to hit. So I'll come down here and look at these, kind of guesstimate how many days, and then I'll, figure out my material and kind of get an idea there. But yesterday it was like $2,500 by the time we got the 1 or 2 loads of rock here, my time, Dad's time, and then the machine with the hammer on it. So this will be a, I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000 ditch by the time they get that in their driveway. But it is what it is. So all right, well, they're ready. I'm going to jump in the loader, start moving some screenings, and maybe see if we can start covering some of this up. A little bit in, and then I guess they can maybe take a break from up top and kind of knock it around. This stuff's really easy to work with. It's like sand. Basically the lime dust that's in like crusher run, or what we call base rock. knock some of that off in there? Or?
Yeah, just push the